Hey guys, welcome to my D&D sketchbook. I'm Kramer, and today I'm going to be drawing my character,
Gulg Unglot. Gulg is a half-orc fighter. He likes to try to fight smart, but sometimes his anger gets the best of him.
Originally, Gulg's backstory was pretty simple. He was raised by his father, an orc chieftain, and he went around with the rest of the tribe, pillaging and raiding. However, I eventually had to figure out how Gulg's character was going to fit in a normal, functioning society. I decided that Gulg's father and tribe had been killed after they had tried to raid a village and instead been arrested. After seeing his family die at the gallows, he decided that he wanted to find a way to live life where he could still go around killing things without getting arrested and dying an unhonorable death by getting beheaded. So while the rest of the party's motives might include wanting to help out or just trying to do good, his motive is just,
Look guys, all I really want to do is kill things. If I can do that legally, like we go get a bounty, and in the process I can go cut the guy's legs off, bash his face in, then yeah, I'm okay with that. As long as you don't get me arrested.
considering Gulg's origin and backstory, I imagined him to be very stocky, very muscle-bound, but as you can probably guess by now, that's not the route I went. I started envisioning Gulg as a scrawny half-orc in a tribe of super buff orcs, who basically had to wake up every morning and do 500 push-ups to try to keep up with everybody else. Where the rest of them might have been super beefy barbarians, he instead took the skilled fighter route to earn a respectable place in the tribe. Overall, I imagine him having kind of a Michael Phelps type of body where he's super tall, but also super lean and muscly. And maybe even from a distance, you might think he's just a really tall human. But when you get up close and personal, you see he has a lot of orcish features. So when making Gulg's portrait, I decided to give him kind of a skinnier face, try to emphasize a little bit more of the cheekbones, try to give him a double chin, something to give him like a stereotypical kind of handsome look, but also throw in a lot of orc features. So he's kind of like a good-looking orc, but at the same time a very intimidating, scary, and unapproachable human. The 5th edition Player's Handbook describes half-orcs as having grayish pigmentation, sloping foreheads, jutting jaws, and prominent teeth, all of which I tried to incorporate into Gulg's portrait. I also threw in a small scar onto Gulg's cheek. The Player's Handbook mentions that orcs like to wear scars as tokens of pride, so that also works out. I keep having to re-say Gulg's name, and Maggie just pointed out to me that if I say it without the accent, it doesn't seem to come out right. So for the rest of the video, I'm just going to say Gulg. You've probably figured out by now that I'm doing a really bad Arnold Schwarzenegger impression for Gulg's accent. For me, that just helps me get into character, and the rest of the players at the table get a kick out of it. Especially when I do Gulg's war cry, which just sounds like blah, 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 blah. The gray skin color made shading in Gulg's face very interesting. Normally I have to worry about skin tones, undertones, what should I use for highlights. But since his skin is very monotone, all I had to worry about was using different levels of gray for shading and contours. The green hair isn't really a canon D&D thing, it's just a personal preference of mine when it comes to orcs and goblins. This was my first time getting to use the blending tool that came with my markers, and I've tried using it since then, but my new sketchpad doesn't really have the right paper for it. The sketchpad that I drew Gulg on has a really thick paper that's more meant for multimedia, while the new one was just a sketch pad, and now everything kind of looks fucked up when I try to use the marker or the blender. But at least in this case, it worked out pretty good. So, a couple finishing touches, and that's Gulg Unglot,
My half-orc fighter.
Thanks for sticking around and listening to my terrible Arnold Schwarzenegger impression. If you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. And until then,
Gulg Unglot wishes you have a wonderful day.